Welcome. We're going to talk about something that, let's be honest, we all deal with. Getting stuck inside our own heads. We'll dive into some really powerful, practical ways to change how you relate to those difficult thoughts and emotions, so you can get unstuck and start moving forward.
So let's start with this. Does this feel familiar to you? That sense that the chatter in your head just gets so loud it feels like it's running the show, telling you how to feel, what to do? You're not alone. It's a super common part of being human.
Take a thought like this one. When we get hooked by it, it doesn't just feel like a thought, does it? It feels like a fact, like an absolute truth. And this state, where we get all tangled up with our thoughts and they start calling the shots, actually has a name. It's called cognitive fusion.
And this slide just lays out the alternative so perfectly. On the left, you've got fusion. That's where thoughts feel like facts, like commands you have to obey. But look at the right side. That's the shift to defusion. Instead of being inside the thought, you're observing it. You notice that you're having a thought. This tiny little shift in perspective, wow, it's everything.
So this is a skill we're here to learn. It's called cognitive diffusion, and it's a huge part of a really powerful approach called acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT. And yep, you say it just like the word ACT. ACT is all about helping us build flexibility by learning to accept our feelings, connect with the present, and get clear on what really matters to us. And diffusion is one of the absolute cornerstones of that process.
So what is cognitive diffusion, really? Well, it's basically the process of creating just a little bit of breathing room between you and your thoughts. Enough space so you can see them for what they are. Just words, pictures, and little mental blips passing through your mind. And here's the key. The goal isn't to get rid of the thoughts, it's just to dial down their power so they stop running your life.
All right, let's get into it. It's time to start building our toolbox. We're going to start with some simple but seriously powerful ways to create that distance from your thoughts.
Okay, our first tool is all about language. It's a tiny tweak in how you talk to yourself, but believe me, it makes a world of difference in creating a little space.
Look at how this works. First, you just notice the thought, that familiar one, like I'm a failure. Then you just pop a simple little phrase in front of it, and boom, it becomes I'm having the thought that I'm a failure. Can you feel that shift? All of a sudden, it's not an identity anymore. It's just a mental event that you're noticing.
Okay, technique number 2. This one is a real game changer for those greatest hits of negativity. You know, the same old stories our minds love to play on repeat.
Here's how you do it. First, you just start to recognize when it's the same old pattern. Then, you give that story a title, something simple like the I'm not good enough story. And then, when it starts playing, you can just say to yourself, okay, there's that story again. It turns it from this urgent breaking news crisis into just a rerun of an old TV show.
Now, this next one might sound a little strange at first, but stick with me. It is an amazing, gentle, and surprisingly powerful way to just stop fighting with your own brain. So when that unhelpful thought pops up, instead of wrestling with it, you just thank it. Thanks, mind. This does something kind of brilliant. It acknowledges that your mind is just trying to do its job, trying to problem solve and keep you safe. You're not agreeing with the thought, you're just acknowledging it's there without starting a war. It's kind of like saying, I hear you, but I've got this. All right, for this second part of our toolbox, we're going to get a bit more creative. These next couple of techniques really use the power of your imagination to change your relationship with your thoughts.
And this one can actually be fun. The silly voice technique is a playful way to just totally deflate a really harsh, serious-sounding thought.
Go ahead and try this. Take a critical thought that your mind sometimes throws at you. Now say it in your head, but in the voice of, a cartoon character or a squeaky robot. I'll never be good enough. It's almost impossible to take it as seriously when you do that, right? You're not changing the words, you're just taking away their power.
Next up is a classic visualization exercise. This one is all about practicing a gentle, non-judgmental awareness as your thoughts just pass by.
Just picture this with me. You're sitting by a beautiful, calm stream, and as a thought pops into your head, any thought at all, you just gently place it on a leaf and watch it float on by. Another thought comes, you put it on another leaf and watch it go. You're not pushing them away, you're not grabbing them, you're just observing. It's an incredible way to practice being the observer of your mind instead of a prisoner of it.
And this next one brilliantly illustrates this whole idea with one single, powerful metaphor that really pulls all of this together.
So imagine your life as a bus. As you see here, you are the driver. Where you're headed, your destination, that represents your values, what's important to you in life.
And all those thoughts and feelings, they're the passengers. Some are pretty quiet, but some are loud, obnoxious, and distracting, yelling things at you from the back. So what's your job? It's not to stop the bus to argue with them or try to kick them off. Your goal is to keep your hands on the wheel and just keep driving toward your destination.
So what's the whole point of all these techniques? What are we really aiming for? Well, it's not just about feeling better in the moment. It's about freeing yourself up to do the things that actually matter to you.
And that brings us to the ultimate goal of ACT therapy, building what's called psychological flexibility. Really, it's just the ability to be present and open up, and to do what matters to you. It's about choosing your actions based on your values, even when difficult thoughts and feelings are hanging around. And diffusion is the master key to unlocking that flexibility.
So let's just recap what diffusion actually does. As you see here, it creates space. That space lets you choose your actions, and that allows you to act based on your values, instead of just being pushed around by your fears. You learn that you can take your thoughts and feelings along for the ride without ever letting them grab the steering wheel.
And that brings us to our final question for you. Let's go back to that bus. If you truly knew, deep down, that your difficult thoughts were just noisy passengers and you didn't actually have to obey them, where would you drive? What direction would you choose for your life? With just that little bit more space, what becomes possible?